Welcome back to Temporal Directive, the Star Trek fan podcast, rewatching the entire franchise in chronological order. I'm Gary.
And I'm Tom.
And this week, we're watching Star Trek Enterprise's Ceasefire. Star Trek, the ultimate franchise. These are the podcasts of the Wakefield brothers. Their 16-year mission to watch every production, to seek out life lessons and new inspirations, to boldly watch like most fans have watched before. Hello.
Why, hello.
We are joined today by our most regular guest, Faja,
Hello.
as we call him.
Yeah.
Faja.
Faja. Yeah, we can thank Austin Powers for that one.
I love the Austin
Probably
Powers movies.
thank myself for it. Banned
well,
those
that's-
movies at home.
You should have.
Warped our sense of humour.
Yeah. Well,
But
didn't
what?
take much.
No. But welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
You were watching an episode that's all about Vulcans and Andorians again, and you seem to always pop up when those episodes are on. So
I'm the expert.
you're the Andorian expert.
It's my colour vision. I can see blue.
What about the green Andorian?
What? Green?
There's those pale white ones too. The
Yeah, white
Anar.
ones.
Yeah. Anyway, what's been happening? You recently had a birthday.
Yep.
Happy
got a bit
birthday!
older. Yeah. Yeah.
There would be
21 and a bit. And I found out my current boss's age, and she's the same age as you are.
Oh,
I can be her father.
yeah, that's
Or
scary.
Faja.
Yeah, say it properly.
She wouldn't get that. I don't know what that means.
It seems to happen a lot. I think everybody at work is about half my age. It's disturbing.
And I've got presents that old people get.
Socks.
Oh, gee, I missed out on socks.
Pack of hearing aid batteries.
Old Spice aftershave.
Actually, sadly, I've got that in the cupboard.
Yep, there we go.
New denture cream.
I don't have dentures, just to make that clear.
Tom, what have you been up to?
Not a lot, actually.
You managed to stay healthy for another week.
I know. Isn't it amazing? And I've been working pretty much all week, actually.
This is
non-stop.
physically healthy, you mean?
Yeah,
Yes, physically. Yeah. The mental health is beyond repair.
No, not much. Just work, like a lot of work, covering all the people I got sick.
Nice. I mean, it's a good system, really.
Yeah, it works
Infect
well.
everyone and then cover their shifts.
Yeah.
Works well.
It's a wonder he hasn't got cultures at home, just growing, ready to go. Oh, I'm a bit short on money this week. I'm going to release this virus out to the...
The
We'll just put
Ebola.
this petri dish in the work fridge.
How about you? What have you been up to?
One of my friends has done a fair bit of work in community theatre across the Northwest for a while.
Okay.
And she's written her own play that she's going to direct
Wow.
with support of one of the production companies.
That's cool.
And I'm going to help her out with that. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but she said, you're good at organising things, so you're going to be my producer. And I was like,
All right.
oh,
Sure.
okay. So I've read the scripts and they're
Wow.
pretty good, and we've got a little group chat going on, and we're going to start auditions in, I think, a month or so
Yeah, wow.
for a production in early November.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
That's
Yeah,
good.
it should be good.
That'll be right up your alley too, because you like all that kind of stuff, or at least you did back years ago.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. It's been a long time, so maybe this will be the thing that gets me back into it.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll hate it.
Yeah, see, that's exactly right. Or it'll go the other way.
Either way, my friend is doing the show and I'm helping
Yeah.
her out to get it up and running, and that's good.
What
Yeah.
is the genre?
It's like it's a drama based in the future. It's actually quite good, but I don't want to say too much because it's probably not supposed to be out there.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, it should be excellent.
Nice.
Let's get into this week's episode, shall we?
Alrighty.
This week's episode is Star Trek Enterprise's Ceasefire, written by Chris Black, directed by David Stratton, with an air date of February 12th, 2003. The IMDb synopsis reads, Captain Archer is asked to negotiate between the Andorians and Vulcans who are fighting over a small planet. That's it.
They're fighting? What?
How
Shocking.
unusual.
They get along so well.
But who would ask Captain Archer?
Yeah, like Andorians are the only ones that would ask Archer.
I would think so.
Yeah, they trust him a little bit.
But of course, Jeffrey Combs is listed as a guest star,
Yeah.
of course.
Sure, that's the like who else?
And Susie Plaxton.
Enlighten us.
Susie Plaxton was Worf's girlfriend that fathered Alexander,
Ah,
and
okay.
also female Q from Voyager.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I
So
like that.
she's in this episode as well. So it's very exciting. All right, let's go watch it.
Alrighty.
And we're back from watching Ceasefire. Well, what did we think?
Good. Like, surprisingly. I'm always surprised.
Well, when it's a good episode, yes.
Because we've had a couple of shit ones in a row. Although the last one wasn't too bad. Was it?
Last week's was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. But no, it was pretty good actually. Yeah. It's always good when they have
Jeffrey Combs.
See it, Jeffrey Combs. He's always fantastic.
I know.
Yeah. Dad?
Yeah, it was good. I didn't mind it. A little bit predictable in parts, but you know.
Yeah. They think there's a very common thread of storytelling in the 90s and early 2000s.
But it was good. I didn't mind it.
Like, you sort of know what characters are going to be doing what they're going to be doing. Like, it's pretty obvious stuff. So, but other than that, I mean, it's not a bad thing.
Susie Plaxton's character, Tara, is the first female Andorian in the entire franchise.
Fair enough.
And there's a shuttle pod discrepancy, seeing as shuttle pod 1 was destroyed 2 episodes ago in Dawn, and apparently the same shuttle pod is the one that they were flying in this episode. So
Yeah.
suddenly it's been rebuilt or regenerated or
Yep.
something. And it's back. So I don't know how that happened, but there you go.
That's
And
the-
apparently they left this one again on this planet.
Yeah.
So is shuttle pod 1 just what they call the shuttle pod they leave everywhere?
It's, it's the disposable
They have a whole heap
shuttle.
of shuttle pod ones that are disposable as they go through.
Must be.
Just bring out another shuttle pod one.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can think of. It's the only explanation. Oh
It's a
dear.
Voyager paradox.
Yeah. Yeah. When we do get to Voyager,
Yeah, we'll be counting
We'll
shit
be
like
counting
that.
torpedoes and shuttles. Because I'm pretty sure they didn't buy any torpedoes off anyone.
No.
So they should have run out about season 3, I reckon.
Absolutely, because I went through a fuck ton.
Let's get into the episode then, shall we?
Alrighty.
We open on a random planet
Yeah.
with Shran's command post area, and there are weapons fire in the dark of night. That's how it's described in the transcript.
Fancy.
Susie Plaxton comes in. Tara, yes, the Andorian woman, comes in, and Shran asks for a report, and she says the Imperial Guard will die at their posts And he says, I know they're willing to die. I want to hear their chances of surviving.
Yeah, that's it. They're going to die. It's fine.
And she says they're holding position, but the enemy has deployed new units, and they're pointing to different spots on the map. And he says they're looking for weaknesses, and she says they may have found it. We've taken more casualties. He says that the Vulcans want to discuss terms of a ceasefire, and says that he wants to negotiate through a pink skin
Yeah.
who has proven to be quite even-handed in dealing with the Vulcans. His name is Archer. And then we skip the credits. We cut to the ready room, and Archer is on a call with Admiral Forrest.
Yeah.
Forrest says that Ambassador Savol, the Vulcan ambassador that we've seen many times,
Yeah.
has asked for Archer to come to the planet that the Vulcans call Pan Makar and the Andorians call Waitan. It's on the frontier between their two systems, and both sides claim that it belongs to them, and they've nearly gone to war over it twice in the past century. Ambassador Savol has asked Archer to come and help resolve the problem.
Yeah. Of all the people.
And Archer's very confused.
As you would be, right?
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
They don't get along.
No.
Savol's been very critical of Archer pretty much from the start.
Yeah.
Didn't want him to be the captain.
No, he's been very negative.
But Archer says, we'll get there as fast as we can.
Well, he doesn't whiny bitch, and then he said,
Yeah.
I'll get there as fast as I can.
That's right. He does his Archer bit.
Yes. Yes.
And what about why us? What the fuck?
Then we cut to the captain's mess. Triptopol and Archer are eating dinner, as they do together.
Regularly.
I don't know if anyone else noticed, but they seemed really subdued in this scene. They had no energy.
The
Trip's
food was bad.
I don't like pushing the engines this hard. The injectors are running at 110%. They just the way they delivered this scene was just
yeah,
yawn fest.
Yeah.
T'Pol's like,
Once more with feeling, people.
T'Pol's like, well, they can run at 120% without any harm.
And then Trip says what?
But I wouldn't set my underwear at fireproof, but I wouldn't set them on fire to prove it.
Exactly.
Fuck.
It's pretty cool, really. It's a good comeback, really.
Well, I mean,
That's the sort of comeback I'd like to have.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to have that something to come back. But I mean, and
I'm going to try and remember that one.
that is a you thing to say. To be fair,
It's true. It's true.
but I don't understand. This is a very me thing to say too. But I don't understand why 120% is their top running. What do you mean 120% is your top running? Wouldn't that be 100% then?
Well, I don't know. I've had exams where I've got over 100%, but that's because I'm overly intelligent. It just depends how the percentages work. You've got to do your maths.
Okay. It doesn't make sense to me, right?
100% is ultimately 100%.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
I'm giving them 100% of the
So there shouldn't
what they
be a
can.
term
There shouldn't be
110%.
110 and 120% because they're running at 100% efficiency. That's what they're running at.
Unless it can run at 20% more than 100%. Then it's 120%.
It doesn't say efficiency. It doesn't say
No.
what. That doesn't say what the measurement is of.
Yeah.
Just as the injectors
Yeah.
are running at 110%. And that they're rated for 120.
Yeah.
if one
So wouldn't
inches-
it be rated at
100% is probably top, where
Yeah.
that's where it should sit.
yeah
But you can overextend it.
So if you
an
had
extra 20%?
That makes sense.
if you had
Yeah.
two
Okay.
engines and
Okay.
they're both running,
Yeah,
at
I get it.
If you had two engines and they're both running at 60%,
Yeah.
what
I
would
get it.
be the total percentage of the two engines?
I get it.
60%.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
Right.
I get it. It's all good.
Okay. Now that we've taught Tom math,
No, it's all right. It's all right. I get it. The way, when you read it back to me like that, that's fine because I thought it was the efficiencies and stuff. But that's fine.
Right.
We should rename this podcast "Explaining Shit to Tom."
It's like a Carl Pilkington. Fucking Jesus.
Carl Pilkington.
Fucking hell. It can't be that bad.
So in this scene, we hear T'Pol giving a bit of an explanation as to the history of this planet that they're heading to. That the Andorians arrived on this planet that was uninhabitable and quite small, not much bigger than Earth's moon, and they terraformed it so that they could develop an atmosphere and establish a settlement. And because of its close location to Vulcan space, the Vulcans assumed it was a military base, and without any evidence of that, they annexed the planet from the Andorians, and they've pretty much been fighting over it for 100 years.
I mean, how fucking rude, right? You go to all the trouble of fucking taking over a planet and like setting it up for yourself and everything, and then they come over and go, "Well, we want it now."
Welcome to the idea of colonization. I'd like to give you a history of the British military. They come in with their pointy-eared supremacy, eliminating the blue skins. Then we cut to Enterprise arriving at the planet, and they're escorted by 2 Vulcan ships. The captain's Starlog supplemental says that it's been 3 days, and that during the time it took them to get there, the situation has grown considerably more tense. Boom, boom, boom.
Dramatic.
So dramatic. We cut to the conference room on the Enterprise. Ambassador Savol and his offsider Murok arrive, being escorted by T'Pol from the airlock. He sits down and asks why an Andorian Imperial Guard officer would personally request your involvement.
Yeah, that's it. Why do they want you,
And
Archer?
Archer says, I don't... What? You asked for me. What the fuck?
That's it. Why would
You asked me to come here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Savol says that 6 days ago, an Andorian regimental commander named Shran landed a force on Pan Mokar and occupied the settlement. And so the Vulcans attempted to enforce the Treaty of 2097.
Naturally.
And they've regained control of half of the colony, but a bunch of people were hurt, and the Andorians have taken some hostages. And for some reason, Shran has asked for Archer to act as mediator. For some reason, he finds you trustworthy.
Yeah. I don't know why. Wouldn't be a history there at all.
No.
So I take it this guy doesn't actually read any of Archer's like records. Like he's got to do a captain's log and all that about all his missions and everything that's been going on over the last year or however long they've been out in space. So he sends all these mission logs back to base or whatever you want to call it, back to Earth.
Starfleet headquarters.
Yeah, Starfleet, whatever. I love that
Or
look
actually
on your face.
Starfleet,
Yeah. But he's not keeping record of what Archer's doing, even though he's actually the Vulcan that's involved in all this. So he doesn't know anything about what actual missions that he's on.
Only the ones that involve the Vulcans, because why else would he give a fuck?
Because isn't he meant to be part of the whole, like, Vulcan involved?
He's a Vulcan ambassador.
Yeah, but isn't he?
But he's not the only Vulcan that has anything to do with Earth.
No, but I thought he was the one that was involved in the missions.
No, he's off doing other things, hence the involvement in Andoria.
Fair enough.
He's
I know.
chilling. He's just doing his jobs.
Yeah.
He's not keeping track of everything Archer does.
No, well, I thought he was.
I don't even know that the freaking Admiral, what's his name, back on Earth is giving a shit. And also, it's been a year and a half. Where's another ship? Why have they only got one ship?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because you'd think they'd have at least...
That was just a side note, sorry.
Well, yeah, you'd at least think they'd have another one in the works, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm pretty sure they have a second ship launched before the end of the series. But,
yeah, right.
but I'm just... Why would it take so long? Like, wouldn't
you kind of build to it once.
Yeah, you'd have one
You have
pretty close
Even
behind.
the Enterprise D had a sister ship.
Yeah.
I suppose it
Two,
depends on you
actually.
how quick your printers are at printing stuff up.
True. True, they don't have replicators yet. They're still 3D printing
Yeah,
everything.
that's it.
You're right. That's a big ass printer
That's
too.
it. And if you're not checking them properly, they might just print the wrong thing, print a little off.
Okay. Ambassador Savol says that he's not too keen on having Archer involved because of the time that he compromised a Vulcan intelligence site and destroyed a priceless monastery, echoing the Shadows of Pajam episode from season 1.
It doesn't sound like a good thing, does it?
Not when you say it like that.
And I haven't got over it.
No, the Vulcans definitely hold grudges.
Oh,
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We cut to sickbay, and Flock says that there is a rather pernicious mutagenic pathogen,
You said it right.
and that he needs to bombard Archer's immune system with analeptic radiation to protect him while he's on the surface.
You get all these fancy words right, but then just speaking English you have trouble with.
You know what I can say real well? So Phlox puts Archer into the decon chamber to do the opposite of decon.
Yeah. It's basically just an excuse for him to have a conversation with the doctor.
Archer says that maybe Enterprise is not just out there to scan comets and meet new species. Maybe they're out there to prove that humanity is ready to join a much larger community, and that he intends to do that, whether the Vulcans like it or not. Do you think they're ready to join the larger community?
No. Not even
Not at all.
slightly.
They've only got one ship.
Yeah, that's it. What are they going to contribute? And they're just, they really are just feeling their way through everything. They got no fucking idea.
Humans, huh?
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
And Flock says that he served as a medic in the Denobulan infantry, and to just be careful. Battlefields can be unpredictable.
Even during ceasefire.
We cut to the shuttle pod, and Archer and T'Pol are heading down to the planet, and nothing works, probably because it's just been a replicated shuttle.
That's it.
They only just stuck number 1 onto it again.
Exactly. And T'Pol says that she sent Archer a bunch of paperwork last night for his revision, and he glanced at it, and she's not real happy that he seems unprepared. And he basically says, we just got to convince Shran that he can trust me, and then we'll play it by ear.
Yeah.
And she looks very concerned about
Yeah.
that method.
It's a very Archer way of doing things.
Yeah, well,
But that's how
actually,
he got through all his exams at Starfleet.
That's how I got through school.
What, you actually
That's how I-
glanced at stuff?
Like, you actually went to school?
We cut to the colony. The shuttle pod has landed. Archer and T'Pol are trying to find their way to the Andorian settlement, and they start walking through buildings. Everything's dark and messy and
all the rubble and
destroyed.
shit
Yep.
everywhere. Yeah.
And they're moving through a couple of different buildings, and for some reason they separate.
Yeah, I don't know why they
Doesn't
did that. It
make
was
that
ridiculous.
sense, really, especially when Vulcans are
Yeah.
one of the enemies.
Stupid.
But whatever, they do. And then Tara finds them.
They get bags put over their heads and they get taken to Shran.
Correct.
That's about it, really. There's a little bit of words, but yeah, not.
That
worth
is
it.
correct.
Yeah.
So we go to Shran's command post, and they take the bags off their heads. Archer says, I imagine my first diplomatic mission would involve sitting around a big table, toasting with champagne, signing things with lots of pens. And Shran says the pink-skinned sense of humour as we cut to commercial. We come back from commercial. We're still in that same scene, and they talk about the captain being there to help them deal with the Vulcans, and that the other times that he's helped Shran with the Vulcans, that he's handled the situation without prejudice, And Archer says he hopes that he can do the same thing again, but I need to check the hostages and make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
Tara takes them to the hostages after having a go at him for calling them that.
Yeah. That's it. And then he asked if they were all right. Tara just like shuts the door and
Says they're lucky that we didn't kill them.
yeah, basically. Yeah.
And T'Pol and Tara have a bit of an argument about who started it.
Yeah.
You started it. No, you started it.
Yeah. Still all aggressive over it.
And Shran says, as you can see, even after 100 years, this situation still evokes anger on both sides. Vulcan anger?
Yeah. She was pretty angry.
Yes. But Shran reels off a list of demands, which are ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's
like,
never going to happen.
Get off the planet. Do all this
Withdraw.
shit. Yeah, give it all.
Rescind the compromise.
That's it. Give us back the planet without anything
Exactly.
compromising at all. Just give it back to us. They can fuck off.
And Archer says, "You're joking.
Yeah, let's get real.
You must be dreaming."
You're dreaming, mate.
Archer tries to convince Shran to let go of some of the hostages, or at least
Yeah.
one or two of the hostages, as a gesture of trust.
Yep.
And then he'll bring Savol down for a proper negotiation
Yeah.
with Shran and Savol.
Yeah, because Shran wants to talk to Savol because he's the only one that
Can
won't
actually
have to.
do something.
Yeah, yeah, because he won't have to keep going back to higher ups because
Yeah.
Savol's actually the one in charge. So, yeah, don't have to deal with middlemen.
So we cut to the conference room, and Savol says, "Unacceptable."
Yeah, that's it. No fucking way. He's
Archer
real
says-
mean, isn't he? He's a
Yeah, he's
fucking
an
ass.
asshole. Archer says, "Well, you got one of your men back," and Savol says, "And in exchange, you'll deliver me into their hands. I'm sure the Andorians were impressed with your negotiating skills."
Yeah, and then rolls his eyes. Like, I really like the way Archer comes back at him though on this one. Like, you know, at least the fucking Andorians are willing to actually talk, whereas you're just
Yeah.
being a cockhead. You're like, no, we're not going to talk because we're just going to get in the way and fucking try and blow them out of the sky, essentially. Like,
Exactly.
we're just going to take them over, you know. But the Andorians are the ones that are actually willing to do this peacefully and actually have a conversation with you about this, but you're too arrogant to fucking actually go and do
Listen
that.
and do it.
Yeah.
So he sees the logic in that as
Yeah.
a Vulcan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good conversation, really.
Yep. There's a brief little scene in the launch bay as they're getting into the shuttle pod to go back down to the planet with Savol.
Yeah. And they got the Andorian ships are coming in here too, don't they?
Yep, they'll be here in 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we cut back to Shran's command post. Shran is ordering some soldiers to bring the landing party to him as soon as they arrive and treat the Vulcan with respect. Tara asks if she can speak freely. He says you don't have to. I know what you're going to say. Because you're a bitch! She says that she wants to fight. He says that we should try peace.
Yeah.
And that he's willing to give Archer another chance. She says you put too much faith in the humans.
Yeah.
They're friends of the Vulcans. And he says, not always.
No.
I've seen that for myself.
Yeah.
She wants to attack the Vulcan ships now so that they're on the defensive before the other ships come down. And he says, no, get over it. I'm the boss.
Yeah. And I want to talk about it and do it peacefully.
Yep.
Well, as peacefully as we can.
And then says, dismissed.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of my
The
office.
Starfleet for get out.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that what Janeway said?
Yeah, that's it. Dismiss. That's exactly right.
We cut to the shuttle pod with Archer, T'Pol, and Savol, and they get shot at, and they can't hail Enterprise, and they crash on the planet.
You can't tell anything. None of the
They've been
sensors
shot
work.
down from the surface.
Yeah. Not that they can really tell that.
They can't tell that, but we
No,
can because
yeah,
we have eyes.
We can. Yeah. But it's important that they can't tell that.
Right.
Because he has an argument with Savol once they crash.
Yes. Which they crash. And then they have an argument.
Exactly.
Oh, lucky you told me that.
because Savol wants to go back to the Vulcans because he thinks he's been shot down by the Andorians. Archer wants to go back to Shran because he can't prove that the Andorians were the ones that actually shot them down because they didn't have sensors and everything on their shuttle to actually say what happened. And Savol's like, you know, how big of a fool are you to believe the Andorians? And they end up going for Shran, essentially.
Pretty much they got shot down. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we cut to the bridge. Trip is talking to the Vulcan on the Vulcan ship, who says that your shuttle appeared to make an emergency landing. There was some weapons fire, and we haven't been able to pinpoint their landing site yet. But the High Command has instructed me to take steps to recover Ambassador Savol.
And our crew.
And our officers? Of course. Sounded real sure about that.
Yeah.
Trip says that they want to be involved in any rescue operation. The Vulcan captain says, we have more experience in these matters. And then he just ends the transmission.
Yeah.
Those Andorian ships are 3 hours away, and we cut back to Shran's command post. Shran says that the shuttle was to be left alone. I gave specific orders. Tara says, and they were followed.
Yeah, sure.
Then who fired those shots? The Vulcans? I suppose they're trying to kill their own ambassador. She tries to convince him that the Vulcans were shooting down their own ship as a subterfuge to blame them for killing their envoy.
Yeah, because then they'd be able to attack them with reason.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. And he doesn't believe it. He's a very smart Andorian.
Yep. So he says, I want to find them and I want them brought here. If they are looking for an excuse to attack, we won't give it to them. Mm-hmm. And she says, I'll see to it myself.
At which point even Dad was like, how about we just lock her up?
Yeah, exactly.
That would have solved it.
Yep.
Issue resolved, we all go home.
We cut to the colony. Savol, Archer, and T'Pol navigating through the ruins trying to find the Andorians.
They pretty much walk around a lot, don't they, really? Because they talk
walk
about his
around
history.
Yeah. Lot.
Because they talk about Savol's history in the war.
Because he used to
whatever.
be there 100
That's
years
it.
ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they think they get lost or something and whatever else. Anyway, and then they start hearing weapons fire.
But they do hear weapons fire. They squat down behind a thing, and Archer leaves them there for a minute.
Yeah.
He says, you stay there, I'm going to go take a look. No offense, but my ears are less likely to draw fire than yours. And so he walks off to investigate and leaves Savol and T'Pol there to talk. And Savol says, what is their fixation with our ears? And she says, I believe they're envious. But then he has a go at her. She's got a slight human accent, apparently. She has spoken against the High Command's recommendations in support of Archer.
Yeah.
And he says that she's becoming too emotional.
Yeah, that's it. And she could have had some higher positions and whatever else if she had have come back and yada, yada, yada. Yeah.
But she's not interested. She says that she finds the work that she's doing gratifying, and that just makes him more angry.
Yeah.
And she says that Captain Archer has earned her respect. And then Archer comes back and interrupts them and says, no, they're pulling back. Let's keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
We cut to where the shuttle pod has crashed, and Tara is there with a soldier. They're just checking to see if the landing party is there, and they're not.
Yeah. It's like they're going to go back for the...
They're probably going to look for the Vulcans.
Yeah.
And she says no. They'll look for Shran.
Yeah.
We cut to the bridge. Hoshi's panel starts beeping, and she says that there's a EM differential that is 90% sure is a human biosign.
Sure.
An EM differential? It makes no sense.
Whatever.
But anyway, they think they have a biosign. And the Andorian ships have just dropped out of warp, and they're 13 minutes away. And the Vulcans are breaking orbit, probably to give themselves room to maneuver. So they go to tactical alert, and we cut to the colony. We are with Archer and Savol and T'Pol, and there's some more weapons fire. Savol gets shot in the shoulder. We cut to commercial as they take cover. So our landing party is getting shot at by Andorian weapons. Archer yells out to hold fire because we're here to meet with Commander Shran, and they just keep getting shot at.
Yeah.
They locate where the two people shooting at them are, and he gives Savol his pistol, and he goes to sneak up behind the two people shooting.
Yeah, does a lot of rolling and crawling and laying on his
Unnecessarily.
belly, and which make no fucking sense, but that's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing, and he
Yeah.
does that, and then he climbs up a ladder, and
Knocks out a Andorian,
yep,
throws his gun away, and then has it 2 seconds later. Then comes down the ladder and then does some more crawling and maneuvering and
then we cut to the
fancy
bridge.
stuff. Yeah.
Andorians are coming in. The Vulcans are charging their weapons. Trip wants to put the Enterprise in between the two lots of ships. And Reed says, if you don't mind me asking, what do you have in mind?
No response.
Trip just stares at the view screen and says nothing.
Not a word.
So we cut to the colony because I don't think Trip knows.
No. It's just a blank look of,
We cut back to the colony.
and then he's underneath the platform, isn't he?
Yep.
So he's underneath the platform looking up, and that's where he sees Tara. So then must crawl underneath that and then back up behind her and then holds his weapon at her and says, put your gun down.
I don't know if this is set to stun or not.
Yeah, that's right, because I don't know enough about Andorian weapons. So she throws her gun away and says, there isn't a stun setting. So-
Archer says, you fired on my shuttle, you're trying to kill Savol, undermine everything that Shran is trying to do here. Why? Do you want a war with the Vulcans?
Yes, she does.
And she says, all we want is a chance to fight for what's ours before cowards like Shran negotiate it away.
Negotiate what? The war away. So yes,
The
she wants a
planet
war.
away. The planet. Negotiate the planet away.
Well, so you can have a negotiation, you won't get the damn planet.
But she doesn't want to take the risk of losing it in the negotiation. She wants to fight for it.
Fair enough. Whatever. So she wants a war.
So she says, you can take it up with him, and starts to take her away. And then he trips on some dust.
On nothing. On all those fancy maneuvers and stuff that he's been doing to get there, and then he just falls over. Oh, I fell over.
And as he falls, she attacks him. They fight, and they fight and fight. Before either of them can kill each other, Shran and two Andorian soldiers show up. We cut to the bridge. The Enterprise has been maneuvered in between the Andorians and the Vulcans, and they're being hailed by both of them. So Trip puts both of them up on the screen. They're both trying to convince the Enterprise to fuck off because it's got nothing to do with them. So stop interfering. And Trip says, as long as my captain's in your war zone, it has something to do with us.
Uncanny.
And then we cut back to the colony. Archer explains to Shran what was happening with Tara being the one that's compromising this whole situation and this whole negotiation, and was trying to kill him.
And Tara goes, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a thing like that. I've been with her for years.
Until Archer says, check the wound, check the shuttle, you'll find their Andorian weapon signatures. Then she confesses, what did you expect me to do? Shran has her taken away and has Savol looked
after.
Yep. We cut back to the bridge. Reed says that the Vulcan ships are breaking formation and they're heading to the planet, and the Andorians are following. Trip's like, get the phasers ready.
Yeah.
We're going to
Charge
shoot these
them.
fuckers down. Fuck them.
We're in for a fight, guys.
And then Archer hails and says the Andorians are letting the Vulcans come down, or
Take
vice
away their
versa.
soldiers.
And everything's good. And Trip, thank fuck. I was
Yeah.
5 seconds away from shooting the fuck out
I
of
was
all of
about to
them.
blow the shit out of the people.
Back off, man.
Archer says, we had a pretty rough landing. We're going to need a ride back to the ship. So Trip's going to send Travis down in Shuttle Pod 2. So this is another Shuttle Pod 1 that's getting abandoned on a planet somewhere. Then we cut to a shot of the Enterprise in orbit, and there's a captain's log saying that the negotiations between Savol and the Andorians have been difficult but productive. And we cut to the conference room, and Shran is there with Savol and his offsider, some of the Enterprise crew. Archer says, I believe someone wants to find a compromise as a solution that neither side is happy with. And Shran says, in that case, these talks have been extremely successful.
Yep.
But they have a drink and toast to the success of the negotiations and say that they look forward to continuing the talks on Andoria. Savol leaves the airlock, and before he goes, he says, Captain, your presence here has not been overly meddlesome, and leaves. And Shran says, I think he likes you, pink skin. And Archer says, I wouldn't go that far. The end. It was a fun episode to watch. It was not a fun episode to talk through.
No, I would agree with that. I would agree with that because it was a lot of nothing, really.
There was a lot of
talking and a lot of walking and doing, and not a lot of excitement.
There's lots of small scenes.
Yeah. When we finished watching it, I think Tommy said that we just need one more species and we've got the start of the Federation.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is very much setting the tone for what's to come within the Federation and how that's set up, because humans seem to be the species that can mediate.
Yeah, that's right. Sort of bring it all together, because we're not overly irrational all the time.
Well,
I said all the time.
There is a very, going back to maths, there is a very small percentage of rationality.
Yeah, we have a little bit.
If we don't hold guns.
Yeah, well,
Once they're all banned, yes, we're quite rational.
In the future, we've gone through enough through this series. Anyway, we've gone through a fair bit. We're a little less irrational. But yeah, so we can sort of bring it all together, can't we? Like we can see both sides, most sides, but we're only missing the Tellarites, and that's it. In the Federation, I believe. So it was good to see everyone sitting around the table.
We're still a little way away from that.
Yes.
But yeah. Anyway, so what's the life lesson in this one, Tom?
Don't colonize.
I think have faith in your past experiences too with people. Like Strand sort of had confidence
in Archer.
Yeah, and sort of, even though there was lots of stuff happening with his own people, whatever else, he still said, well, I know we've had past experience. I think, that's probably what I'm going to make my decisions on.
Yeah, still trusted Archer.
Trust in what you believe.
Yeah, talk
from
and
past experiences.
I think that's the takeaway, really, is discussion, talk, honesty.
Great. All right. IMDb rating for this one. Examples of 1 episodes of Voyager's Threshold and Next Gen's Code of Honor. Examples of 10 episodes of Next Gen's Tapestry and Deep Space Nine's Far Beyond the Stars. With those in mind, what are we going to rate this episode?
I'd go high. I think we went 9 last time, didn't we? But I'd go a little lower than that. Probably 8.
I don't think it's that good.
Yeah. 7 then?
Oh, I think 7. Yeah, 7.
Yeah, 7.
That's on par with Shadows of Pajam.
Yeah.
And the other episodes in this sort of Andorian Vulcan
vibe
issues. We've usually gone 7 or 8.
Yeah. 7 would be
Shadows of Pajam was a 7.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll make it.
I don't think this is better.
No, it's not.
No. All right, 7 it is.
120%.
Fucking
funny. All right, well, thank you for joining us again, Faja.
No problem. Pleasure.
If you want to join in the conversation, you can find us on Facebook at Temporal Directive Podcast and on Instagram, just Temporal Directive, or you can email us at wakefield_productions@outlook.com. We'll be back next week with the episode Future Tense. Live long and prosper.
Peace and long life.
Take care.